Okay, so, hi, this is Tenacious Earl, and it has been a few days since I have posted a video, and what I've been doing lately is playing a lot of this particular game here, which is second season football. I mean, as much as I can, because this game, it's not a game for the fast-moving, fast-paced tabletop gamer. It's more of a game for the person who enjoys taking the time and, because there are quite a few checks, and depending on how, analytical you want to get as far as how you come up with your teams and things like that. The way I do it, coming up with formation sets and defensive players and all that kind of, trying to make sure I'm trying to do a replay, but without doing a replay. I'm trying to use teams as they were used in real life for the most part, and I try to do as good of a job as I can discerning that from the data available, which is mostly game books off of NFL.com and Pro Football Reference, trying to get snap counts and things like that. So what is this? So I said late fourth quarter in the title of this. Well, it is late. Chicago got out to a 17-3 lead early, but the Oakland Raiders have come back and scored 16 unanswered points and now lead 19-17 with 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the game. I can show you this here. This is what the score sheet that I use looks like. I kind of go back and forth which one I like to use, but I'm using this one at the moment. The colors at the top here just indicate time of possession. Oakland has dominated since about the middle of the second quarter, I would say. Chicago has really hit. And so part of that is Jay Cutler was injured early in the game, and so Brian Hoyer has come in, and while he played pretty well to get them out to that 17-3 lead, things have kind of fallen apart for them. The Raiders were able to block a punt early in the second half, and that led to a touchdown by Amari Cooper, brought them 17-16, and then Janikowski, with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, kicked a field goal to make it 19-17, and that's where it stands right now. Like I said, so the Raiders have just punted to the Bears, and so it's first down and 10 on the Bears 23. A lot of the receivers and running backs and such have lost their grades. Like the receivers have lost their R grades for the most part. And Jeremy Langford is now very poor inside run. You shouldn't see much of that. They're probably going to pretty much go with the spread, which Jordan Howard is going to be their running back in the spread. So they're going to have three wide receivers. Zach Miller is a tight end, and Howard, as most of their sets here are going to be that. And because we're right at 3 minutes, the next play is going to take them over. They're trailing by 2, which means that you would go with the B chart after the first play, but we'll probably just do that right now. So let's get rolling here and see if the Bears can get in the field goal range and take a lead, and then see if they could hold off the Raiders here. So on the second season, I could try to do this since we have a little bit of time here. We're not speeding along. It's right near the end of the game. I get a 25 here. I use this. This is a dice rolling app on my Kindle, and so it would be nice if I could put this in a place where you could see it. But 25 is my offensive play call, which here is going to be we are going to go with B, so 25 is going to be a short pass. Okay, this is the defense. This is a 20-sided die. It doesn't show up as a 20-sided on here, but it says 20 down there, so it's a 6. So it's going to be short pass against a pass defense. So this is how you use the solo playing chart that is pretty intensive. Okay, and then we go with, I'm not worried about offensive personnel. Usually I would check that, but instead we're going to go straight to the spread offense because they are in need of chunk yardage. So it's a short pass against a pass defense, and what we're going to do is we're going to target. I was mistaken in a video earlier. There's no way you can play this game without targeting guys that have lost their R rating. So you just have to hope that you don't throw it there, you know, that when you throw it their way that they go to a different rating. So let's see what happens here. So this is going to be short pass. We go to the book here, short pass against a pass defense. And we will target Alshon Jeffrey here. And the roll is 66. And that is a great roll for them. Chicago is the home team. They're playing at Soldier Field. That means that we'll go to XS, which is the longer gain column, potentially longer gain on the short pass for Jeffrey here. And we check 46. Is D a 2 pass? So D here is Amerson, David Amerson for the Raiders. You probably cannot see that. I might as well pull it right up here so you can. He is the starting cornerback there against Jeffrey, and he is a 1, not a 2. So, again, we check 46, black die first. D is 2 pass. No, it's going to be an 8-yard gain. And so 8 yards for Jeffrey. Hoyer completes the pass. And we will take 30 seconds off. Chicago has 2 timeouts remaining. They stopped the clock right before Oakland just punted. So that is a 2nd and 2 from the 31. And so I was using this chart here for my down and distance because I'm using this other one, but as you can see, there quite aren't enough lines on that. So I kind of go to the other side of the sheet and just keep on going. So 2nd and 2 from the 31. Now again, just to show you what I do here, I hit roll and it goes 63. And so 63 could be a longer pass here off B. That is a long. And then the 4 on defense is a pass defense. So we're going to go with a long pass here on 2nd and short. And this time they're going to target Eddie Royal. So we'll go to long pass against a pass defense. And it's 21. Incomplete. Oh, that is lucky for the Bears. Incomplete, but defender flagged for pass interference. 2Q plus we're going to roll a D6. It's going to be a first down. And so the Q for Brian Hoyer, his Q rating, I'll pull it up here so you can see it. That is an 11, and because it is a Q rating, that means we have to choose an alternate receiver besides the one we were targeting. So we were targeting Royal. We're going to go ahead and take Jeffrey. So we will take the 2Q is going to be 22 yards off of Hoyer's Q rating plus 5. So that's not going to be we are not going to give a pass completed. Instead, it's going to be a penalty over here on the sheet. Defensive pass interference. And we will roll so I'm going to take from these 4, I'm going to roll the D20, and it's 11, so 12, 11, it's going to be it's going to be Keith McGill. He was the starter here. And so that is going to be a 20, that was a 5, so 27-yard penalty, a big penalty. The Raiders, as is their tradition, they are penalty riddled here. 11 penalties on the day so far, only 3 for the Bears. So a little lopsided there, but that's going to put, and we only run off the 15 seconds since there was a stoppage for the penalty call. So as usual, when you have a penalty on a pass interference call, you would not give the quarterback an incompletion. An attempt. You would just call it good. So they were at the 31 on 2nd and 2. So you go 31, 41, 49, and then it was 7 on top of that. So 31, 41, 49, So 42. The 42 of Oakland. 1st and 10. We will give them a first down by way of penalty. Sorry, my mind is a little bit mush right now. Once you get playing a game like this for a while, you start questioning everything you're doing. Okay, so Chicago gets a huge break there, and now Oakland has to start thinking about maybe using some timeouts here if they can stop them. So again, 63, and this time it's a 20 is going to be a blitz defense. Hi, bleacher bums. So on this B, it's going to be blitz is 20. 63 is going to be long pass. Might as well going to roll it off here and see what happens. They're going to try to take a shot. So long play versus blitzing defense, and Hoyer is going to target. Well, he'll target Royal again here. Actually, let's target Jeffrey. Changing our minds. Jeffrey has single coverage at 35. So is guard A 2 pass? We'll take the sheet here. Guard A, Josh Sitton, is a 2 pass. And something does not look right there. That's because I put my dot in the wrong place on my sheet. I was noticing that earlier, and it is Kyle Long who started that game. So I just need to make it a little bit more apparent there. I was playing it the whole game, but that's a 1, not a 2. So what was that? So let's go back to, I got to get my dice roller back up again. It was 35, right? So we go check 35 again. Guard A is not a 2 pass, so quarterback gets rid of the ball just in time for an incomplete pass. So that is his, let's see, 29th attempt, and he currently is at 21. He's 21 of 29, Brian Hoyer. He's had a pretty good game. So that's 2nd and 10. We're going to run off 15 seconds at the 2:15 mark. 2nd and 10 from the 42. They'd probably like to try and do something not quite as long. It's still going to be a blitz defense, though. 35 will bring up with this B chart. It's going to bring up a medium pass, a little more reasonable distance of a pass, and they're going to try and hit Jeffrey coming across the middle here. Actually, they will try to hit Bellamy. Josh Bellamy is the slot receiver right now, and he only has 1 catch, so he does have room for a second catch right now. 34, let's see what it says. Is end A 2 pass? So end A in this case is Eddie Royal, and Eddie Royal is only a 1 pass, so that is a no. So 34, 2 pass. No. Pressure from blitzing B or C incomplete. So a second incompletion for Brian Hoyer. That makes it, and that's going to take it to the 2-minute warning. So 3rd and 10 from the 42. So again, let me just show you here. I crossed out his 30th attempt. No completions here. We just put a line through. So we've got 2 minutes to go. Now, what this is each of these hashes here is 15 seconds. So this is, the 14:45, 14:30, 14:15, 14-minute mark. And then you just keep going down here to 2 minutes. Then we get inside 2 minutes. Each of these is worth 5 seconds. So the timing changes a bit. You get a little more careful with that. But so still the Bears have 2 timeouts. If they complete one over the middle, they can stop the clock twice more. So I just rolled. And they get another big number, 66. And that's going to be a long play long pass. Defense is 5. That's a pass defense. So they're probably going to have to hope here for a maybe checking down underneath or something like that, because this is not going to be easy to complete. And they are going to target. They will target Alshon Jeffrey here again, trying to hit their big target on the outside. 36. Is NB a 2 pass? NB is Alshon Jeffrey, and he is only a 1 pass. So, what does this mean? 36. Receiver covered, incomplete, and he does not have a question mark, so I believe a question mark means something to do with the yeah, that's weird. It says receiver covered, incomplete. I kind of feel like that's a typo, and well, let's see. No, I'm wrong. That's for the passer. And Hoyer does not have a question mark. So in that case, that would mean that that the quarterback would be sacked instead of being incomplete. So we will mark Hoyer incomplete. That leaves it 4th and 10 from the 42 of Oakland. You know, that's going to make way too long of a kick to try. So at 4th and 10, and we got to run off 10 seconds. That means that they're just going to have to try one more play here. And again, they would... I may have looked off the wrong chart, but it wouldn't matter. That 66 here is always going to be long. So it's 4th and 10. We're going to look off the regular chart here. So 54 off of 4th and 10. It's going to be a medium pass. And it's going to be defense 16. Well, it's going to be blitz. They're going to have a chance here if Oakland doesn't get this right. All right, so they're going to target Royal. Either guy is a 1 pass receiver. They don't have anybody who is a 2. So here we go. 34. End A. That's Royal. He's not a 2 pass. That's going to be incomplete, and that's going to turn it over on downs. And so they have a chance to stop the clock with 2 timeouts, but so that means that the Oakland Raiders are going to take over on downs. Let's see. Just checking some comments here. Hi, D. Scott. Bleacher Bums at... Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll answer your guy. Just hang out, guys. I'll answer some questions afterwards. Okay, so Oakland is going to get the ball at 1st and 10 from their own 42. Chicago's only hope really is to stop them on 3 downs. So we're going to roll this here. We've been getting a lot of high rolls there. 65 is going to be, off of this D chart, is going to be a medium pass. They're going to try a pass on 1st down. I mean, Derek Carr is a good quarterback, but do you really want to do that? And then against a blitz, this could be feast or famine. And Oakland will target... So that Oakland has 2 receivers that still have their R rating. They will go with Amari Cooper, and he is a 2 rated pass. So if they get that same check at 34, it's 42. That's going to be, is NC a 2 pass? NC in the heavy set is going to be Smith, which is Lee Smith. He is not. That's going to be a pass rush that is incomplete. And so they inexplicably let Chicago off the hook here. So now 11 with a 1 defense on, I'll show you here what just came up. 11 with a 1. This would have been a much better call on 1st and 10. So that's going to be inside versus safe. And they're going to go with Jalen Richard. They switched to Jalen Richard halfway through the game because Latavius Murray had hit his usage limit, and we're trying to keep them afloat. So, but Richard has 2 more runs before his AAA inside rating is lost. So let's see what happens here. We're going inside run versus safe, and this is on 2nd and 10 from their own 42. Again, kind of conceded an attempt here to maybe just run out some clock and really force Chicago into a hole. And that is an unusual result. 46. Anything that totals 10 is unusual. So we go off this column here. We re-roll 42. That's a 2-yard loss and then a penalty. But if there's a false start, the play would not count at all. They would have blown it down dead. And it is 16, which 16 is a false start. So even better news for the Bears, as Oakland with their 12th penalty, offensive false start, and it says tackle B, which is Austin Howard. That he had a hold earlier, and that's a false start for him. So Oakland having trouble here, 19-17 up with, and just trying to bleed this clock, but now they're back to their 37. 2nd and 15. So we re-roll the dice. That's a 16. It's still going to be an inside run off of this D chart. Defense at 15. That's going to be a run defense. And they will stick with Jalen Richard here on that heavy set. Could also go with Jameez Olawale, but might as well use Richard while they have a chance. 63. Is G a run 2? That's going to be on Chicago. Now, so is G a run 2? Jarrell Freeman is not, and it is close. He's actually a 0 in this case with that little hex mark there. So, again, 63, is he a run 2? He is not. Is he rated run 0? Remember, we said that because it is close and late, he is run 0. So that's going to be XR. This is going to mean a decent gain for the Raiders. And that is 32. So then we check, is H a run 2? So H, Leonard Floyd, he is definitely not a run 2. So that was 32. Is H a run 2? No. 9-yard gain for Jalen Richard. And they will be forced to use a timeout. The Bears takes down to the 120 mark. 3rd and 6 from the 46-yard line, right? Yep. Okay. So this is for really all the marbles right now. You got a 3rd and 4. They would say you want to stay on that D chart, which is basically conservative as conservative can be. You get another 14 against a 15, so that's another run defense, and it should be another inside running play, and it is. And they will go with Richard one more time. So here we go with 1:20 left. And that is going to be another unusual result. I hadn't had a lot of those lately, but here just in these last few rolls we have, let's see what happens. This could be anything from a penalty to a rare play to a fumble. 51. That's a bad snap and a 1-yard loss. They're going to call timeout. It's going to run 10 seconds off, but we're going to give Derek Carr a -1, and that's going to make it 4th and 7 from their own 45, and they're going to be forced to punt. Now, Chicago will have no timeouts remaining, but they do have a prayer, so... And because it's exactly on the 45, by the rules, you have to be inside your own 45 to do a coffin corner. So this will actually be a regular punt for Marquette King. All right, so what we do is we look at his, usually his average, which is 49, and then we roll off of routine punts right here. And let's see, 53 is the roll. So, and his return is a C, so he's not good at preventing returns. So you subtract 2 from his average, that's going to be a 47-yard punt. And then there will be a return from Eddie Royal, who is the return man for the Chicago Bears. He has a punt return rating of 7, so again, we'll take it off of this board up here. And we can come right here. A high number would be, you would think that someone would be kicking it out of bounds here if you're punting it, but in this case it's 52, and that's going to be +3 to the return, and that will be a 10-yard return for Royal. We take 10 for the clock stop, takes down the minute mark, and so that was, what did we say, that was a 10-yard return. So from the 45, a 47-yard kick, that's 45, 35, 25, 15, 7 is 8, and then a 10, so the 18-yard line. Chicago takes over at its own 18, 1st and 10. And so what we're going to be doing now is going off of this chart right here. This is the you need a miracle. No timeouts. It's going to be long versus pass. Again, they're without some. What they can do is they could take Bellamy here. That way they would get the benefit of an R pass. Although there aren't that many on this chart, are there? At this point, I don't think you have to worry so much about R ratings. I think you should. So let's target. We'll target Alshon Jeffrey because he's got a 1 rating at least. He's not a 0 pass rate. 26 are either D or C 2 pass. So D. Amerson's a 1. McGill is not a 2 either. So they're both 1s, so they are not 2 passes, so it's going to be complete. And Jeffrey does not have a, and Hoyer does not have a question mark. Go to the XL column. So this is a long pass play with a chance maybe for more. 21 is the X rating for Hoyer greater than 6. That's like a big play / touchdown rating, and it's not. It's 3. So what was that? 21 is not greater than 6. It's gonna be a 29-yard gain for Jeffrey. Now it's gonna mean they're gonna have to run up to the line here. It's gonna be a 25-second run. At 10:25, it's gonna be down to the 35-second mark. That's a passing first down and 1st and 10 from the 28, 38, and 9 is 47-yard line. They've got to go. Did not get out of bounds with that. So 24 off of that chart. Another long pass against a pass defense. They'll target Royal here. And it's going to be an unusual result. 46 incomplete. And that is going to not only be incomplete, it's intentional grounding. And so that's a loss of down and a loss of 4 yards. So we will give him incompletion there. And it's going to be so we're going to take 10 seconds off. 25 seconds left, and this is going to be an offensive intentional grounding. It's Hoyer, 4-yard penalty. So that's going to be 2nd and 14 from their own 44. No, 43. 25 seconds left. Man, it's not close enough for a Hail Mary. You'd like to, but you don't have time to get another playoff here with the way that you need to get a guy out of bounds, and there's really no way to push that to happen. So 25 is long. 6 is a pass. All right, they'll throw to Jeffrey here. 33. NB a 2 pass. He is not. That's going to be incomplete, although there is potential for a video review, which could throw a wrench into the works. It's going to go to the V3 table here. So, if you're a Chicago fan, you want to hope for a roll over 54 right now. It's 25. It's going to be an incomplete pass, upheld. 15 seconds left. 3rd and 14 from the 43. All right, what we're going to do here, I'm going to take over a little bit of the play calling here. I'm going to try to do this end of game chaos play, but what you end up needing to do is that you need to get a completion. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw a short pass. We're going to dial up a short pass, and let's see what kind of defense are they going to throw out here. Probably, and it's going to pass defense. So let's do a short pass. We will do the short pass to against a pass defense. We will do this to Jeffrey again. Of course, this has a better chance at hitting our. So, but we will just go ahead and see what happens here. Short pass versus a pass defense. Might have, and we would have 2 chances to do this if it's an incompletion. 13. So Hoyer is a completion percentage of AA. So that's going to be half Q, but out of bounds. So that might actually let them. That's interesting. So that'll run off 10 seconds, but half Q. Q is 11. Half of that is 5.5. You round up to 6. And you have to choose an alternate receiver. We will go with Royal. And we'll go with Miller for that. 6. It gets out of bounds. And so you got 5 seconds left. Now let me check the Hail Mary play. I think now that we are at 4th and 9. Is that correct? No, 6. 4th and 8. From the 49. So if you go Hail Mary, may be used on last play. Must be at or beyond offense's own 40. Well, they could have used it anyway, but here, this is a little bit better chance. So we're going to use the Hail Mary. They really have nothing else that they can do at this point. I mean, they could try that chaos play, but they went out of bounds. So let's see what happens. It's too long for a field goal. From their own 49, 4th and 8, can Brian Hoyer heave the impossible heave? And they will, I guess this tells you who is targeted. So let's see. 53. Possible interception, but a penalty. Ooh, boy. Let's see. Possible interception. Go to Y chart. Hoyer is a 1 in the 4th quarter. So if it's a 14 or less, and it's a 66, so no interception. That goes incomplete. But there is a penalty flag down. There is a penalty, 53. And let's see if the football. Let's see what the old dice have to say about this penalty. So it was a pass play. What you don't want to see. What you don't want to see is. Well, I guess they don't have any spot fouls in this. But up here, 2A, so from 13 to 15, personal foul or face mask, that might get them in the field goal range. I think a false start, because the clock was stopped, a false start would still give them another chance. 25. 3A is going to be a false start, so they will have another chance. How about that? It'll be 4th and 13. There is no runoff because the clock was not moving, and that false start was for that's Zach Miller. So they can, because it's beyond the 40, I guess they can still do this play. I was mistaken where the line was. So it's 4th and 13 from the 44. They can go ahead and do another Hail Mary. So, again, I think this tells you who... Well, let's just say that they target Jeffrey. Just for... I mean, they're basically, it's usually 3 or 4 receivers hanging around. 65. Is defender B or C rated 0 pass? This is B or C. B, Reggie Nelson is a 1. Keith McGill, so it's on the ball is located on the Chicago half of the field, so he is a 1, McGill. So neither of them is 0 rated. It's batted incomplete. That is your ball game. So gets a little bit complicated sometimes in those situations. But that is going to be your final, and the Raiders squeak out a 2-0 record. Let's see, what do they score there? They get a field goal. And nothing for Oakland. It's going to be 19-17 is your final. So Chicago, they could have gotten another pass play down the field and tried to get Connor Barth into field goal range. They could have had a good chance at a victory, but and actually, if any of these guys were a 0 pass, would have been pass interference, and they would have had one last play, and it would have probably been a pass interference that would have led to what would have been an automatic first down from the 1-yard line. So it would have been basically a chip shot for Connor Barth. So Oakland gets to 2-0 and Chicago 0-2. Chicago gave them a run for their money. They, like I said, they were up 17-3 in the second quarter, and Oakland just chipped away and then got a lead early in the fourth quarter, well, midway through the fourth quarter. So I said I was going to answer some questions, so let me get situated here and see what's going on, because it's been a while. Whoa! Howdy doody. And I'll get my chat window up here so I don't have to flag back through all of the comments on my screen. I know it gets a little bit, you know what? Let's do this. Except for the fact that this way I can talk to you guys without everybody saying that my microphone isn't picking me up, because it probably isn't very well. Excuse my and. Yeah, 38 minutes on the video. That's 38 minutes on the video. That's kind of for 3 minutes of gameplay. That's quite a long time, but and as you can see, everything's sort of wrapped up here. Okay. I'm getting to the comments. Coolio. Good to see 10 people around. It's been a while. Okay, what do we got here? Come on, give me those comments, you stupid thing. Here we go. Ooh. Okay, I gotta scroll back up. So, alright, on the fence about second season. This is Bleacher Bums. Hopefully he's still around. Do I find myself getting bogged down in the charts? Yeah, I mean, playing on the channel, it's it's not a YouTube game. I'll put it that way, Bleacher Bums. It's I think for someone who wants to play maybe an hour one night, maybe 2 hours the next, an hour the other night, you know, you could get a game you could do a game in that fashion, and in that kind of time frame, you can, it would take some time. Now there are some things that I'm going to potentially be looking into using, namely the fast action cards that Al Wilson has worked on for a while. Seems like he's tried to hone them down some. Tried to dial in as best he can some of the stuff. I think most of it's probably just off of this. This chart here that I use, you can find it in the free stuff at play.com. Again, it seems a little complicated when you just print it for the first time. But, it really does. I mean, it makes sense as you play it. There are going to be times, I think, in every game where you say to yourself, maybe I'd just be better off picking the play right here because it's just not going to get the job done. So, throwing a long pass on 3rd and 1 when you're leading by 10. I mean, anybody could have a strategy point where that is worthwhile, but sometimes you might think better of it. So, Al, Red Sox fan, hi. Hopefully you're still around. I hope D. Scott is still here. Let's see. Love it. Just looking at comments here, trying to make sure see what the questions are. Good tonight. Hotel room saw this live stream, so join Alan Shaw. It's good to see you, Max Cornelius. Not sure how often. I'm not sure. Sometimes I forget names. If I haven't seen you before, welcome. If I have, then no offense. Welcome back. Let's see. Response from everybody's got a lot of streamers here in the comments, which are great. There's a lot of stuff. I know Bleacher Bums is doing some racing on his channel, the Red, White, and Blue. This is from Play, and Red, White, and Blue is as well. I think there are a lot of people finding that the Play games are very enjoyable, entertaining. I hope so. But there's lots of great manufacturers out there right now, and people who are designing their own games. So, I'm intentionally trying not to get too play centric, if there is such a thing. But I think there is. I think that Tabletop Earl, and I want this to be not a generic, but a broad scope channel for many different types of tabletop sports games, and maybe even other tabletop games too. He already played one. I think it was at Pandemic. I can't quite remember, but I think he did play that one. But mostly sports, and so I think we want to make sure we don't focus too heavily on one manufacturer. But in this case, I have out of the games that I currently own, I think I have 3 that are Play and 1 that's Stratomatic. So that's kind of the way it goes. But there may be some other news coming forth. We'll see. Well, Jay Cutler getting injured, that was the trouble with him. What are my feelings about the charts? Manageable or too much sometimes? The charts. I guess I'm not sure how best to. There's several ways that you can accomplish a game. A lot of the, some of the manufacturers, Strat puts a lot of the emphasis on what cards you buy, and most of the data that you find happens to be on the cards. So, you're really not flipping back and forth between charts. Now, Play, most of their games are chart intensive. I don't mind. I know there would be some people that do, but I also know that then the cards, I think the card sets end up being a little less expensive. Um, you know, it makes it probably easier to provide cards as PDFs, and you can then cut them out because they're, they're smaller downloads. They're not, you don't have these humongous cards that contain all sorts of data, and but yeah, it can, clearly it can become a little tedious if you're not, dead set on, I'm going to play this game and I find it fun. And I think I definitely find it fun. I think this game here was a great display of what this game can be about, which is, and I think it kind of showcases football's parity in a way, because Chicago, I thought halfway through the game that there was a great chance Chicago was going to come away with the victory in this game. And Chicago, I think this was the year that they finished very far down the standings, and they ended up taking Mitch Trubisky because they just had a really subpar year. So, and Oakland wasn't any big shakes that year either. So I think they may have been at 500. That was coming off, I think, a year where I don't know. This may have been the year that Carr busted his leg. Could be him and Mariota both busted their legs on kind of freak accidents. I think that was 2016, not 2015. Mariota might have been drafted in, I don't know. See, the years just run together. Let's keep looking here. 10-second runoff. Activated. You need 3 things: an injury timeout, player's helmet coming off during a play, or an accepted penalty for one of a number of fouls. Yeah, I think the 10-second runoff, another thing that you really need is you need to have wait a second. Reading through this. The fouls that call for a potential 10-second runoff, kind that's seemingly designed to gain that unfair advantage, stop the clock, intentional grounding, incomplete, illegal forward pass, etc. Yeah, so maybe, maybe I should have given them another 10-second runoff when there was an intentional grounding, but since I didn't do that, I guess my understanding is you would have a 10-second runoff primarily if the clock is running and there is like you say, a penalty. A false start could be that too. Any penalty that would seem to try and use gamesmanship, like you'd see in soccer where guys rolling around on the ground. Instead, soccer is a continuous clock, so they just add time at the end of the game. In the NFL, they would run 10 seconds off if you try to game them by, false start's an easy one to do. Let's see. Allen's playing still inside pitch. Glory days, boxing, yada yada. Looking at getting a football game. Not looking at something with football so Bleacher Bums is looking at doing something with football down the road. Time of play and good results. Bleacher, that I guess that's the thing that is super difficult, I think, about football, is finding that balance. Like this type of these type of cards here come with the game, and I do think that they would speed things up a little bit. Those are just fast. Those are you're only supposed to use them sparingly, and I just decided at some point that I was not going to be using them with this project for whatever reason. I think because it seems a little difficult to I don't know. There's just certain things that are incumbent with my project with my project here, that it's kind of like I put I answered something, or I asked a question on one of Al's pictures where he used one of the drive chart style score sheets, where I asked him how he was tracking the number of catches, because especially for catches, because that basically takes away our catches from receivers, eligible receivers. It also downgrades running backs if they reach their usage limit. And his response was that at the bottom, I can pick this up and show you, at the bottom of these team sheets, there we go. You can see these are D20 ratings. So this is for Oakland. So if you pick an inside run, you could just roll the D20 if you want and say, okay, it's going to be Murray this time. Then you could roll it. If you do have another inside run, you roll again. Maybe the next time it'd be a 19 and be DeAndre Washington. Then you could have a short pass, and then you roll a 12, and it's Latavius Murray will be the targeted guy on that throw. So my response to that, I think he finds that more convenient, and it probably is. I don't, I guess, he's using the Football America set, which is the fictional set, which I think is a neat concept. And after playing History Maker Golf, I think I would be very interested in trying to put together a season of Football America, maybe even creating my own teams just to try and I saw a couple threads on how maybe to accomplish that in a realistic way, and I might embark on that. That would be fun, because you might not want to just have the same Football America set. They're the same fictional players on if you watch one of his games, if he plays it on Facebook or on his YouTube channel, then if I played one later on, if I picked it up, you'd say, oh, well, I know player, that player. He was in. So you kind of have preconceived notions. It might be neat to have some other names, but where was I going with that? Oh, so those usage charts. The trouble for me is I am scratching off players with injuries. I'm scratching off players that maybe were inactive for whatever reason. Maybe they were suspended for a game. Maybe they were injured. Maybe they were being developed. Sometimes rookies. Like, I feel like Jordan Howard was not being used maybe for that very much by the Bears. Early in the season, they had Jeremy Langford as their starter, maybe just because they were trying to condition him, or just get him used to different competition. But what was I going to say? So in that realm, then I kind of go down through this list, and I find that maybe those charts, and I guess I could just tweak them. But I guess for me it just made more sense to kind of go the opposite direction, which was to come up with usage charts of my own that were based on formations, and then use them that way. Basically select who was going to get a target based on my own feel for where they stood in terms of how many catches they had, maybe their pass rating, and et cetera, et cetera. They might have a better chance of completing it on a third down as opposed to a guy that's got a 0 rating in the pass column, maybe not. So, let's see. Okay. See you later, Anthony. If you come back. Will I be getting any older seasons? Maybe. I have to look and see. First off, I have to really peruse their website and see what's available. Obviously, early 90s would be an interesting time, but it's also a rather painful time. So that's potentially asking for some good feelings, and also some not, those who've watched the Phillies replay that I did. Now, I'll address something. I've gotten some feedback from some people saying that, maybe that wasn't as big of a deal as what I thought it was. The way that I, sort of had my emotions get the better of me, or whatever you want to call it. I still haven't completely settled myself over that, whether that's the case or not. But I've heard that some people, somewhat enjoyed watching my reactions to a team that I had a great amount of feeling for, kind of go through the ringer on the ups and downs of that season in a replay. And so, I'm still processing it. It's been several months here since we finished that part of that project up where that season was complete. The regular season. And so, yeah, I don't know. That would be one that would be interesting. I think it would be interesting to hit one that was closer to when I started watching football, maybe like 1980, 81. The Joe Ferguson Bills would be pretty awesome. Chuck Knox, ground Chuck with Joe Cribbs, Frank Lewis, wide receiver. The Bermuda Triangle defense, Fred Smerlas in there, Shane Nelson. Who's the other one? Oh, Hazlitt, I think, might have been in that too. Smerlas, the great nose tackle, and then you got, probably one of the underrated nose tackles, I would say. It'd be awesome to see him end up recognized for Hall of Fame. He did have a nice career. I guess he probably just wasn't the big name. He didn't play in. He did play in New England for the end of his career, but New England wasn't exactly the big name team that they were, or that they are now. Maybe if they had been, they did go to a Super Bowl against the Bears and got pretty much throttled. But Smerlas was ending his career, and maybe Smerlas' career wasn't long enough. But he was a guy that was just a great, fun defensive lineman to watch. Just a big dude, and him and Klecko was another one during that era. Yeah, that's right, Al. 80 Bills, yes. That was, my grandmother used to get a kick out of it because we would watch at Christmas, or I'd be up there Thanksgiving or Christmas or just maybe a weekend or something, and the Bills were playing and they lost, and I had started crying. I would have been like 6 or 7 years old, and just like, it's makes me think of Hootie and the Blowfish. Yeah, the Dolphins make me cry. Well, back then the Bills, when they would lose, I would cry, and then they hit the time when Chuck Knox left for Seattle, and they went into a pretty bad period of time until they were able to get Bruce Smith, and took a while for Jim Kelly because he went to the USFL. And they got Andre Reed, and Thurman Thomas traded for Cornelius Bennett. Daryl Talley became one of their big defenders, and it was just a great. It was a great progression there. It was a pretty rough time from about 82 to 86. And then the USFL folded, Kelly came back to the Bills, and then it didn't take too long for them to start asserting themselves. But, I think I got the questions. So, yeah, one last thing about what's going on here. I think I'm going to try to get another tournament in for the Tenacious Golf Tour. We're at the British Open, the championship of the United Kingdom. I printed out Carnoustie, thanks to Back to Minnesota's David Gray for carding that one out. This year they were a little more able to cope with the conditions. I guess the conditions might have been a little better because I saw the scores were much more, much more pretty than what they were back in the day of, was it, I forget if it's, I think it was Paul Lowry won that one, and Jean Van de Velde had the meltdown at 18, where he gave up a 3-shot lead, and I guess he at least got in the playoff. But so we'll probably get to that as the week sort of moves towards Saturday. I've got to do some bookkeeping in terms of my cards because I want to take the top. Probably will take the top 156. Probably won't do any qualifiers for this. Probably will just take a full field out of the top ones. And Alan Shaw said the Friday weather was awful for the morning round. See, I was out of town and I did not get a chance to watch the tournament. I was actually playing in a golf tournament on Saturday. So won a door prize, won a skin. Unfortunately, it was we had four skins. There weren't a lot of teams. There were 18 teams, and so there were 4 skins on the day. And so it wasn't nearly the prize that it can be sometimes when you have a lot of teams and maybe you just get one skin won throughout the whole course. You can get a pretty nice, because I mean you pay in as a team and then you split it whatever you get. So. But it was a nice round. It was it started to rain at the end. It's been that kind of weather here lately, here where I am. Muggy, hot, spot thunder boomers / just downpours. So it seems like that's what our weather is going to be here for the next couple of weeks, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it will only be for the next few days now, but. But yeah, so the golf was fine. So yeah, you take care as well, Al. I'm going to sign her off here. But so look for some History Maker golf in the next few days. Probably will still try to kick in some more of this second season, but there may be some more news coming along. So maybe a little later this week I'll be able to give everybody a little bit of an update on that. So. Till next time, this is Tenacious Earl for the Tabletop Baseball Plus channel. Thanks for checking out this, what was supposed to be a short video on the end of this Oakland at Chicago 2016 game. Oakland able to pull it out in the end. So until next time, just keep rolling, having a good time with your tabletop games. God bless you, and we will see you soon.